Hi, this is Reena Jadhav here at Vader Splash Health, and I'm hanging out with Jeffrey Brewer with Bigfoot Biomedical. Hi, Jeffrey.
How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
So you're doing some really exciting things in the world of diabetes. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we're developing an automated insulin delivery system, taking an insulin pump and a continuous glucose monitor, tying them together, connecting them to a smartphone, a cloud-based data system, and providing a solution that helps people to take insulin in the safest and easiest way. Type 1 diabetes, insulin-dependent diabetes, is a very challenging condition with which to live. A person has to make decisions about delivering a dangerous drug. Technology and artificial intelligence and cloud systems and smartphone interfaces are perfect for assisting a person to take this drug in the safest possible way. And we've developed a Class 3 medical device system, taken it into clinical trials, and as I was telling you earlier, is a very personal mission for us.
Yeah, tell us about that.
My son has type 1 diabetes. In 2002, he was diagnosed, and for the last 15 years, I've been on a mission to try and see that technology was better applied against solving this problem. Worked with medical device companies, nonprofits, academic researchers for a number of years. Made some progress, but at the end of the day, didn't see a company that was going to take this across the finish line. So a bunch of fathers of kids with type 1 diabetes and some other people who have diabetes, have treated diabetics, we all got together in a company called Bigfoot Biomedical, and we're going to give it a go ourselves.
What a great story. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks very much.
You mentioned you're in clinical trials. When do you think you'll be ready for widespread availability?
Well, we're going into our pivotal trial later this year.
Okay.
That is going to take 3 months, a couple hundred people at home.
Okay.
Got to go to the FDA because a Class 3 medical device requires what's called a PMA. Submission to the FDA, and hope to be on the market at the end of 2018.
Very nice. So I think that's very exciting for those of you who are watching who've got kids that have got type 1 diabetes. That's really exciting news. I advise some startups that are looking at products that are going to need FDA and clinical trials. So help those founders understand, what was the time frame and how much money did you need to get to clinical trial stage?
Well, we've gotten tremendously fortunate in that we were able to acquire some assets of some companies that ceased operations and deferred a lot of costs that we would have had to invest in order to get where we are. We've raised almost $50 million, and that is the cheapest way you're going to get into a consumer-focused Class 3 medical device. We've got to raise another $50 million in order to get to the marketplace. Okay. This is tough because most digital health investors, they want to invest in apps. Yeah. They want to invest in 510K devices or systems that don't require clinical trials. Yeah. This is rare air where you're raising this kind of money and funding clinical efforts. My advice would be that don't focus on the technology or the device. You need to focus on a solution, solving a real problem in healthcare that is going to have a quantifiable return to payers, or something that consumers themselves are willing to invest in and actually go out of pocket for. That means you really got to solve a problem. And it's not about technology, it's not about things that you think you can prove one day in the future. It's about demonstrating today and actually tying that to outcomes people value. And if you can do that, you can get your business funded. The game has changed.
So what was your secret? What is it that you delivered or demonstrated that you could raise $50 million?
Well, I think we demonstrated that we had the competencies to actually cover all the different, the team is very strong, and a number of us motivated by a personal mission, as well as having a lot of great experience in all the different operational competencies necessary to build a business like this. But we have the right approach, the approach that really meets the need of the marketplace today, to focus on a solution, to leverage the software and the data and to tie things together as an integrator. You don't have to invent every piece yourself, but you need to put them together in a way that's holistic and designed to actually solve a problem.
What's been the hardest thing in terms of going into clinical trials and going through the process?
Hardest thing for these types of businesses that require clinical trials is raising the capital. Okay. Investors are very skeptical of anything that has to go to the FDA.
Yeah,
a lot of businesses have been imploded by entrepreneurs who thought they could handle the FDA. Yeah. We actually have some background and experience with the FDA. I used to be the CEO of a nonprofit foundation that literally, at the invitation of the FDA commissioner, drafted the guidance document that oversees.
So you have a secret weapon.
Well, I have
Gotcha.
some very good expertise and knowledge and relationships as a result of having a personal connection to the problem we're solving.
Of course, but I think having that expertise is invaluable. What do you recommend to someone who doesn't have that expertise and is looking for help? Where should they go look for that expertise?
Well, I think one of the challenges being the regulatory challenge is you need to listen to the FDA and actually understand what their priorities are, how they think about the problem. FDA is in a difficult position. You know, they get criticized for too slow, they get criticized for too fast. You got to work with them. They're trying to do the right thing too. They want to be part of the solution. It takes a different approach, one that's more collaborative. I think it's been part of our success is that we went to them and we said, what do we need to do to be your partner, and what do we need to do to actually satisfy any concerns so we can bring innovation.
Interesting. Let's get back to Bigfoot. So what's your business model? Because I really enjoyed hearing about that.
Well, our business model is to deliver a solution as a service. Medical device historically has been about selling durable medical equipment, which sounds like a concept for a business or for a doctor's office. That's not what a real person wants. It's actually not what payers want either. What they want is a solution. So we think that packaging up the hardware and the software and all the consumable elements that are necessary to use the hardware as a service, that's the best way, a subscription service model essentially. Therefore, you're delivering value as a payer or as a person who has a copay for this particular solution is paying. And it's the smartest way to do it. It aligns incentives of the company with the payer, with the patient, with the clinician.
And are you going to go directly to consumers at any point, or are you going to continue to work with hospitals and insurance?
Well, we're going to go to insurance, and we're going to go to payers, or rather, and to patients. Building a brand.
So you will build a brand.
Actually, having a direct relationship with the consumer is essential to build a business like this. And it is, for this disease at least, the tools are used by the person on a daily basis. It's not the doctor's equipment, it's not the doctor's tool. It's got to be used by a person on a real-time basis, 24/7, in order to live successfully with the disease. That's where the relationship is.
Okay. Last question. So you're super successful 5 years out. What's the beautiful new world that you've created?
Well, the world I want to create is one where my son has a better way to live safely with type 1 diabetes and to take this dangerous drug called insulin. I think we're also building one of the biggest businesses in diabetes. It is a very disruptive approach to take a very expensive problem, namely people who put themselves in the hospital for giving themselves the wrong amount of insulin. Costs $82 billion a year for type 1 and type 2 insulin dependent in Europe and the US on a yearly basis. Crazy.
It's crazy.
And it's unnecessary, and the technologies exist to fix it.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.